This is Jeopardy!
Footnotes.
Now, the categories.
NonFiction.
NonFiction 200.
The Power Broker by Robert Caro is a biography of Robert Moses, an official who guided the growth of this city for 4 decades. Jesse?
What is New York?
That's it.
The Power Broker, Robert Moses in the Fall of New York, is a 1974 biography of Robert Moses by Robert Caro. During a 44-year reign, he built nearly 700 miles of road, including the giant highways that snake out of the city into Long Island and upstate New York, 200,000 acres of parkland and public beaches, plus 758 playgrounds, 7 new bridges, the UN headquarters, the Central Park Zoo, and the Lincoln Center Art Complex, racking up expenditures of $27 billion, dwarfing any previous run of construction in U.S. history. Around 500,000 people who happened to find themselves in the way of Moses' vision were evicted from their homes.
NonFiction 400.
The remarkable story of these vote seekers from 100 years ago in Great Britain is told in Rise Up, Women. Megan.
Who are the suffragettes?
Yes.
During the late 19th and early 20th century, men in the UK had the right to vote, but women did not. Many people, including women, didn't believe that women should be able to vote. Even Queen Victoria called the fight for women's rights a mad, wicked folly, despite being a very powerful woman herself. Many women started to campaign for women's rights. The focus of their attention, the right to vote. This became known as the suffragist movement. During this time, 2 main political groups formed, the National Union of Women's Suffrage Societies and the Women's Social and Political Union. These groups came to be known by 2 different nicknames by newspapers that sought to ridicule them, the suffragists and suffragettes. The 2 groups used very different tactics to draw attention to their cause, but their message was very much the same. They wore the colors purple, white, and green, made banners, badges, and sashes with the words "Vote for Women" displayed on them.
NonFiction for 600.
The Fatal Shore by Robert Hughes chronicles this nation's founding as a product of the British penal system. Ben.
What is Australia?
You're on the board.
Today, 1 in 5 Australians is the descendant of a convict. The British first sent prisoners to America, but as the War of Independence reached its conclusion in 1782, the old colonial power was left with nowhere to discard their crooks. Until they saw a solution down under. The east coast of New Holland had been mapped by Captain James Cook on his voyage in 1770, so the British thought this territory, despite being inhabited by indigenous people for 60,000 years, was the perfect dumping ground for their excess criminals. An 8-month boat trip and 10,000 miles across the sea soon became the punishment for stealing a bag of sugar or a loaf of bread. Australian convicts arrived on the first fleet in 1788, part of the 1,500-strong colonization party that included military and civilians. Admiral Arthur Phillip founded the penal colony of New South Wales on January 26, 1788, and set convicts to work according to their skills, planting the seeds of the first European settlement to colonize the Australian continent.
NonFiction for 800.
Richard Preston's The Hot Zone examines the terrifying true story of the origins of this deadly African virus. Megan.
What is Ebola?
Yes.
Since its discovery in 1976, the majority of cases and outbreaks of Ebola virus have occurred in Africa. The disease has a high risk of death, killing about 50%. This is often due to low blood pressure from fluid loss and typically follows 6 to 16 days after symptoms appear.
NonFiction 1000.
Answer. Daily double. All right. And you have as much money as your 2 opponents combined.
I'll wager 2000.
2 it is. Here's the clue. In a 2016 work, Nigel Cawthorne recounts the lifelong feud between these 2 inventors that electrified the world.
Who are Tesla and Edison?
You got them both.
Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison are 2 giants of electrical engineering whose inventions changed history, but the electricity between the 2 is no secret to the world. Tesla contributed to the development of the alternating current, AC, electrical system which is widely used today, and the rotating magnetic field which is the basis of most AC machinery. Edison, the iconic inventor of the light bulb, the phonograph, and moving pictures, whose inventions have enabled modern-day power and mass communications. They both waged in the War of the Currents in the 1880s over whose electrical system would power the world. Edison's direct, electric power or Tesla's alternating current. In 1884, Edison hired Tesla, and the two were soon working vigorously alongside each other, making improvements in Edison's inventions. However, several months later, Tesla and Edison parted ways because of a conflicting business-scientific relationships, which historians attribute to their incredibly different personalities. While Edison was a figure who focused on marketing and financial success, Tesla was not business-minded and was somewhat vulnerable. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and comment below on what you think the next Jeopardy footnote should be.